Mike, let's talk about the running back room. And I always describe this, guys. You're walking down a hallway at Flowery Branch. You look right. It's the wide receiver room. You look in. You see Drake. You see Pitts. All the guys are in there. You keep walking. You turn. You see the quarterback room. And then just a few steps down, there's the running back room. And in that room, Mike, we've got Bijan Robinson. We've got Tyler Algier. We've got CP, Caleb Huntley whenever he gets back coming off the injury. But we know Avery Williams is not going to be available this year, right? Injured. He's the returner on this team, certainly a guy that has versatility out of the backfield that was really liked by Arthur Smith. But he's not going to be around. But looking at this running back room, Bijan, 1,580 yards, 18 touchdowns last season at Texas. We can only go by the numbers that he's produced. We don't know what he's going to do in the NFL, but we do have high expectations. Tyler Algier, a 1,000-yard running back last year. And then the question, how many carries will CP get? As we look at this running back room and we look in there, we're trying to figure out all this stuff.
And I got to be honest, I know that we mentioned earlier the workloads and guys are already projecting we're going to have trouble in 5. Again, you said this when the draft went down. What are you going to be doing in 5 years? Where you going to look ahead? Come on. First things first, let's trust Arthur Smith to use this guy in a fashion that will not wear him down, where he's going to be taking hits and he's going to be breaking down. This guy's going to be catching the football. He's going to be used all over the field. Yes, he does run between the tackles. He did that at Texas. He can do that. But I just think you've got to kind of look at how much depth and all the names you just mentioned in concert with Bijan Robinson used in a way that maybe even more dynamic than he was with Sarkisian in Texas. And that will prolong his career.
So, Tyler Algier, what do you think he's thinking? What do you think he's thinking about his usage, especially coming off the kind of year he had last season?
Well, he's probably feeling like Mongo in Blazing Saddles. Mongo just pawned at Game of Life. Now, if you're Algier, you feel like a rock star, and all of a sudden you bring in the best running back in the draft, and now he's in the room with you. And it's tough to hate the guy because he's really awesome and cool and wants to learn from you, and he's great.
Yep.
But, but Algier still serves a purpose. Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram coexisted in the Saints room for years. And I think the same thing can happen here.
I do, too. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Somebody asked me that same question I just presented to you guys, and my answer was, you're making a problem that's not a problem. Don't make problems that are not problems. There is no problem with Tyler Algier and his attitude towards Bijan Robinson or his playing time or his snaps. You know what Algier wants to do? Win. You know what Bijan wants to do? Win. And I think they'll support each other because they're on the same team in doing that. Let's not make problems that are not problems. We want to put this out there as if we're in the head of Tyler Algier and somehow he's told somebody, man, I don't like this situation. He's not said any of that.
Now, maybe you in your workplace, if somebody comes in and maybe he's considered to be a challenge to you, you get petty and you get in your bag. I don't know. Don't project. Here's the other thing. I think it's more of a concern or a problem for fantasy football owners because early on, if you're drafting the Falcons, you're not going to know what you're going to get. We may be, and you and I talked about this, Tribble brought this up yesterday, we might be like the old Josh McDaniels run Patriots, where 1 week we're focusing more on the passing game, 1 week it's more about the run game. Yeah. But either way, the big question is, can you get a 1,000-yard receiver from between Drake and Pitts? We talked about the receivers yesterday. How this the running back group, I don't know. But I figure Algier is still, you'd be hard-pressed for him to get 1,000 yards this year. But he's still going to be an impact in the room. He's going to be an impact in the game plan.
Let me tell you what
I don't care.
What I envision. Thanks, John. If we are first and goal on the 3-yard line, and Bijan gets the ball and he doesn't punch it in, and now we're second and goal on the 2-yard line, Mike, I have no issues with Algier coming in and getting his opportunity.
Right.
I just don't. I mean, I don't know if we're going to do that, but that is why you said, at least from a fantasy standpoint, Algier could have a bunch of touchdowns this year because if we're in a lot of red zone situations, he is the guy that I do trust to run through people and break those tackles, even though I know Bijan is going to be the featured back. And I use the air quotes. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to get a lot of red zone opportunities.
Right. And then, what are the numbers for Cordero Patterson going to look like? I think he's going to have more. I think he'll have more yards in the air than on the ground. I think Cordero Patterson is going to be used as a quasi-wide receiver. We've got so many weapons. It goes back to our conversation yesterday. How are we going to – the good news is here we are as fans. Everybody's trying to handicap this guy's going to do this. We don't know, and nor will defensive coordinators the Falcons are going to face this season.
404-726-0929. We are looking at the running backs room. Guys, and we're kind of going position by position, taking a look at things for our Falcons. But I do think this is a strength. There are certain position groups on this team that are strengths. This is one of them. I'm not worried about this room. There are other rooms that I may be worried about, And you can even say that you guys looked at the wide receivers yesterday. And I don't know if you're worried about that as a whole, but this is a group that I'm not worried about. This is going to be one of the most productive backfields in the National Football League. And if the O-line is better than it was last year, Mike, don't laugh. We may lead the league in rushing.
Totally. And that's going to be without the quarterback, although Desmond Ridder can pick him up and put him down when he wants to. We thought we might maybe see him run a little bit more last year. I heard Squidbilly Bo Morgan on the morning shift say some interesting stuff the other day. And it's interesting. He said that if you look at where we were with Matt Ryan the first year that Arthur was here, and then you look at where we were last year, it was more of a pocket passer, obviously, with Matt. And then there was more mobility with what you have with Mariota. Just, was just not good in the pocket.
He changed it up.
And that this year might be a sort of an amalgamation of both. Not that Squidbill used that word, but you know what I mean? But the idea is it's going to be a combination of what the 21 of the 22 offense was. And I like that idea. And I know that we always come back to the same spot. What's Ridder going to do? Real quick, by comparison, looking down the road in New Orleans, Alvin Kamara is still going to be there. Jamal Williams, they picked up Kendre Miller from TCU. Remember him in the third round?
Well, he was hurt in the championship game. He got hurt, and he wasn't able to play. He's a nice player.
The Eagles, they decided to move on from Miles Sanders. So Miles Sanders is down in Carolina. Chuba Hubbard is there, and Raheem Blackshear. They got a bunch of dudes falling for the other job. So right now, we're still the number one running back room right now, right? And then the Bucs, I'm looking at Tampa Bay, and their running backs are Rashad White, who had 1 touchdown last year, Chase Edmonds, Keyshawn Vaughn. Dare I say we got the best running backs we could have the best running back room in the league. We've certainly got the best running back room in the NFC South.
I agree with that. The only other team that I think is really close to us is the Eagles, Mike.
Right.
Rashad Penny, they picked up. Kenneth Gainwell, DeAndre Swift. They have a bunch of guys. Trey Sermon. They have a bunch of guys that they can put in the backfield like us that do multiple things. That would be the only other team that I might tell you they might have the best or the deepest backfield of versatile guys, but we are a close second. There's no doubt.
And then again, this goes back to the argument: how much do you pay for a guy like Miles Sanders? Talked about the perceived devaluation of running backs in the league. Yeah, that's other teams' problems. Let's let this evolve with the Falcons. We've got guys already saying, as we said earlier, this is going to be some kind of – no, man. Carl said it. There is no issue. We got some really good vibes right now. Everybody is doing the work. Got a break for a while. We'll come back. We'll see these guys end of July. Can't wait to see. And, again, for fans who didn't get a chance to see him at Mercedes-Benz, I think when fans get up there at Flowery Branch for the camp, you're going to be blown away by just how – just amazing Bijan Robinson, the kind of athlete he is.
I agree. Miles Sanders, Mike, I could remember, ran for 1,200 yards last season for the Eagles.
And then moves down to Carolina.
Yep, he's gone. And so they substitute that in with the guys that I was just talking about, and they're pretty deep. And Rashad Penny was with the Seattle Seahawks.
Right.
So he comes over to join that group. 404-726-0929, and Mike is right. In this division, I don't think there's anybody better in this room.